Welcome back once again, and this is Business Live. Now, Parliament has approved a $1.3 billion finance facility between Ghana Cocoa Board and a consortium of banks and financial institutions. And it appears some tech giants are struggling in recent times, from Facebook shares going down by 19% yesterday. Twitter is also experiencing some trouble with its shares declining by 17%. We have details in our summaries.
Parliament has approved the $1.3 billion finance facility between Ghana Cocoa Board and the consortium of banks and financial institutions, with government as a guarantor for the purchase of cocoa in Ghana for the 2018-2019 crop season. The House also accordingly approved $6.5 million tax waiver of stamp duty on the loan facility. The trade facility is to enable Cocoa Board raise adequate funds to purchase cocoa beans from farmers through licensed buying companies for the 2018-2019 cocoa season. The daily minimum wage has been raised by 10%, reaching 10.65 Ghana cedis from 9.68 Ghana cedis. The decision was arrived at after deliberations of the National Tripartite Committee in Accra on Thursday, July 26. A communique issued by the NTC has therefore directed all institutions whose daily minimum wage is below the new daily minimum wage to adjust its wages upward from 1st January 2019. Any establishment or organization that flouts the new rate shall be sanctioned in accordance with the law, the communique stated. British oil and gas giant BP is buying $10.5 billion of U.S. shale assets as the higher oil price makes new extraction techniques more attractive again. BP's purchase is its largest acquisition since the Deepwater Horizon accident in the Gulf of Mexico, which it is still paying for in the U.S. The assets are being sold by Australian mining firm BHP Billiton. The deal marks a turning point for BP, which has had to rebuild its reputation in the U.S. and is still paying the $65 billion bill in cleanup and penalty costs resulting from the Gulf of Mexico rig disaster in 2010. Twitter Incorporated said monthly users dropped by 1 million in the second quarter and predicted that number will decline further as the company continues to fight against spam, fake accounts, and malicious rhetoric on its social network. The shares plunged 17% in early trading. Monthly active users were 335 million, a decline from 336 million in the first quarter, San Francisco-based Twitter said Friday in a statement. Though that measure was up 2.8% from a year earlier, the company expects monthly visitors to fall again in the current period. Twitter blamed the projected drop on intensified efforts to clean up the platform, stricter privacy rules in Europe, and changes to the way its service is used through SMS messaging.
So those were our summaries for today. Daryl, are you on Twitter?
No, I mean, I actually have a Twitter account, but
you
I'm
don't
not
use
active
it. Why?
a Twitter user. I'm not a Twitter person. You know, I am the typical...
I know, but I think for me the issue has to do with recycling the same information on the various social media platforms.
Yeah.
And so you get a bit tired because you post the same thing on Twitter, you go to Facebook. So if users are declined, probably it could be a reason anyway.
Yeah, but you know, there have been privacy issues and Twitter is trying to resolve those issues as well. So it's facing a similar crisis as Facebook. Let's see how they pull out of that one. But let's get you caught on tonight's big stories. Necessity is said to be the mother of all inventions. Well, it appears that has become the mantra of many budding entrepreneurs in Kumasi who are now exploring other means of selling their goods. Love FM's Principia reports high cost of renting shops in the Kumasi metropolis has pushed some traders into selling in vans.
Apart from hawking on the streets with various items, previously traders sold products like bread on tabletops and in shops. But high cost of rent in the country is compelling many to abort the idea of renting shops for their businesses. On the busy streets of Kumasi, 27-year-old Edu Moses sells bread. For 2 years now, he sells in a van and not a shop because rent in the metropolis is very expensive.
Oh, I think selling in this track is more profitable than the shop, because as a young guy, getting the money, maybe 70 million, 50 million to rent a shop can be a little bit difficult for you as a young guy to get that money. So I think if you get a track like this and you just get a little place and park it somewhere, you can just make something small out of it.
So how much does one need to rent a space in Kumasi? Abuaji Denyansa, a CEO of Danny Wise Estate and Construction.
If it's a 5-story structure, okay, the ground floor, because of proximity to customers, okay, and it's easier for clients to access, the cost is quite expensive. So you could have a shop, one with a measurement of, say, 4 by 4 meters or 3 by 4 meters, going for, on the ground floor, going for 100,000 Ghana cedis. Then as it rises, it becomes cheaper. So most of the shops on the top floors, which is the 4th floor, the 5th floor, pay as much as 50,000 Ghana cedis in the central business district.
Many upcoming businesses cannot afford these rates. Moses, as a result, packs pieces of bread in the van and displays them from an open trunk when he gets to his point of sale.
Oh, the track, in fact, is for one of our boss. He buy it for us, and then at the end of the week, you pay maybe 7 million or 8 million at the end of the week.
This type of selling is popular on the streets of Kumasi, and Moses is not the only person in the street. Around Ahojo in Kumasi is this bread seller, but his is in a saloon car. So not only private cars have been converted into mobile shops by these enterprising youth in Kumasi, even taxis are also being converted because of high cost of rent in the metropolis. So how profitable is this business?
Like even when it gets finished or you don't get finished, I just collect my pay. And every day we can sell about 200, sometimes plus. So I get 30 cedis a day.
Some of we used to bring maybe 600 pieces of bread, or maybe 500, or sometimes 700, 800. Yeah. It depends on the markets. Sometimes some will remain and we will send it back home. Sometimes 40, sometimes 20, sometimes just 10, or it will finish. So
selling in vans can be challenging at times. These two explain.
People used to bring fake monies around, but if you are not word intelligent, they will use maybe one fake to somebody who will buy the thing.
When someone is buying from the passengers cars, those trotro and the sprinters, the drivers don't take time, they just move. So we have to chase the car and give the product to the person buying it. So sometimes they go with our money.
This style is not restricted to only bread. Other products like mobile phones and accessories, and sometimes second-hand clothes. Mr. Denyansa has some solutions to address the high cost of rent in the country.
But going forward, when we are planning our markets, our towns, we should be able to segregate and get market centers and make sure that these shops are quite cheaper and springing up.
And until authorities put in measures to make rent affordable for people like Moses and his colleagues, selling in vans and cars will always be preferred to shops. Prince Apia reporting.
Some innovation there. Well, still on the issue of high rent charges. This time in the Western region, some landlords in parts of that region are taking advantage of the oil and gas fine to impose high rental charges. The situation is said to be having a toll on the finances of indigents and has compelled some residents to relocate. Here is a report by Inathalia Kwanzaa. This concern, which has come to the attention of local authorities, was expressed by District Chief Executive of Elembele, Kwesi Bonzo. He's worried about the high cost of living within his district since the commencement of oil exploration in commercial quantities in the western region some 7 years ago. The DCE was addressing the media after the district's town hall meeting organized in collaboration with the Ministry of Information. He said the establishment of a gas processing plant by Ghana Gas Company Limited and other international oil companies has brought in its wake sharp increases in the prices of goods and services.
Having discovered oil in commercial quantities and the production, and with associated gas, we are going to have a lot of economic activities here. And for it to trickle down to the people, unfortunately, we have rather seen associated costs. So much is happening here that needs attention, especially the cost of living. The cost of living has risen so high in Elembele. Rent, in terms of rental values in this district, is one of the biggest in the whole country. Sometimes 50 Ghana rent in a month was too much for anybody to ask. For even a landlord to ask 50 Ghana a month means you didn't want your house to be rented. But now they are calling 1,000 Ghana, 1,500. There are some houses here that 3,000 Ghana a month is what they are calling.
Kwesi Bonzo, in a speech, also hinted that government would give Nkrofo, the capital of the district and hometown of Ghana's first president, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, a facelift.
Some generation, this area has never seen a single kilometer of tar. The only road that exists there can best qualify as footpath. It makes it extremely difficult. When you go there, their major means of transport is tractor. For us, only means of transport that can go there. Anytime that we are about to travel there, even with our 4x4, we struggle very much. So once I became DC, I took it upon myself and promised the people that this road is very clear to my heart. The very major project I simply did was to clear, form and construct 26 kilometers of feeder road in those areas. And that covered the area from Basaka to Asmasi, to Dochiko, to Anamiko and New Agebra.
Some good news for you as we head into the weekend. The prices of petroleum products are expected to witness some significant reduction beginning next week. Now, this is based on industry data and some calculations by Joy Business. But will the oil marketing firms comply following complaints that most of them are struggling under the current deregulation program? There's more in the following report.
Our calculations show that diesel will go down by 2.24% per litre. This would result in a gallon being sold at 21 cedis 37 pesos. A litre of petrol should go for 4 cedis 77 pesos, translating into 21 cedis 46 pesos per gallon, while LPG would witness the biggest reduction of over 3% per kilogram. Joy Business understands the reduction is being influenced by marginal reduction in price of crude oil on the international market and the local currency's marginal stability. But for many, the concern is whether all the oil marketing companies will comply with the projected reduction, as most of them have in recent times argued that they are struggling under the deregulation policy. Co-coordinator of the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, Kweku Ajimanduya, has been explaining to Joy Business hopeful things will change going forward.
Oh, basically, I mean, you know what is happening. You know our dollar exchange rate factor is still up. In fact, and also you do pricing to anticipation of what is going to happen. Now the price is going to go up and continuously going up. You know, even there's even a speculation that the barrel of crude oil is going to hit about $100 mark. So now we are 79.5 and it continues going up. And that's what it is. It's like you're going to buy some commodity you want to sell, and you know that next week is going to go up. You're not going to sell it low, and now you can't buy. And that's how it is.
So the question is, should the National Petroleum Authority step in now to force oil marketing companies to reduce their prices?
Well, we'll see how things pan out in the near future. And, well, collection of plastic waste to earn a living within Tema is being given a boost. This is because Farmil Ghana Limited has opened the first plastic sorting center to help residents, especially the youth, maximize their benefits for picking plastic waste. We have details in this report.
Managing Director for Farm Milk Ghana, Stephanie Kus, says the initiative will improve collection rates. It is also to improve the livelihoods of waste collectors through innovative social and environmental solutions. Mr. Stephanie Kus said Tema Newtown was picked for the project because Tema generates about 800 metric tons of waste daily, out of which 26% is plastic.
It started with the first discussion with Mr. Kwamong, the CEO of EPA. But very soon we also selected, thanks to the strong engagement of the Tema Traditional Council and His Majesty Ni Aji Kraku II, the Tema Manse, we decided to implement the first pilot here in Tema Newtown. Because also, from the first day, we had extremely strong support and interest and engagement from the Tema Metropolitan Assembly and the Solid Waste Department in the person of Mr. Noy. And that's how, very fast, Mr. Felix Mensani Aganla also joined the team of the support of this project. So all those partners were really since the beginning the one who enabled us to make happen. And of course, we have already met and understood all the value added of WIGO, of Environment 360, and also of the people of the MIT through their D-Lab who are working since 1 year to create what we see today.
Some beneficiaries of the project also share their expectations.
Actually, the project will help me to better for my family, my parents, myself, and to support myself in everything.
I'm very grateful to the Pick It program, because if I pick the waste, I make money. It helped me to pay my children's school fees. So I thank them very much.
Making money from waste. You're watching Business Live. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we'll talk pay issues with Sandy. Stay with us.
Thanks so much for staying with us, and let's do something on our wages. And no employee in the country should be paid below 10 cedis, 65 pesos a day from January next year. This was after the National Tripartite Committee, made up of government, organized labor, and the Ghana Employers Association, agreed on a 10% hike in the daily minimum wage yesterday. The review could mean that from next month, nobody, or the average pay should be 287.55 Ghana cedis. Charles Aite has been speaking with a session of the public and has come through with the following report.
From the 1st of January 2019, the minimum wage in Ghana will be increased by 10%. What this means is that if you're earning a salary each and every month, you should be able to earn at least 10 cedis a day, minimum. We have been engaging the head of economics at the University of Ghana on this very issue, Professor Peter Korte, to get to know what exactly this means to him and the implications on the economy. According to him, all that matters is the matter of productivity. Are people working? This is the very way by which the minimum wage can and should be measured. All right, so let's say the same.
We always say that if you want to increase your wage rate should be equal to your marginal productivity. Is it an increment, or any time we increase wages, is it backed by increases in marginal productivity? I don't think we have worked that out. And I would urge government, anytime they increase wages, to also look at marginal productivity, because it also has some effects on the private sector. At the moment, they are overstretched. The cost of doing business is high. And if you have to increase wages every now and then, not backed by increases in marginal productivity, then it becomes a problem, and it will send many people out of jobs if we continue to do that.
Others have also argued, as you rightly stated, that wages would have to be increased based on how productive people are. But beyond that, there's also this concern about the expenditure, especially in the public sectors.
Yeah, public sector expenditure, again, if it's on the high side, and I think government is trying to rationalize some of these expenditures, but there's still room for improvement. But if you want to increase wages, as I said earlier, and you back that by increases in productivity.
So, how significant is the increment? And I've been joined by our in-house analyst, as always, Philip Namfuri. Thanks so much for joining me on a Friday evening like this.
Yes, please.
So, Philip, give us a sense of how much has been added to what they were previously receiving.
Okay, so currently, if you look at it, it's going to kick in from next year, 1st January. Right now, we are doing 261 cedis, 36 pesos. That's in a month. And it's 27 days. That's the formula that's used in calculating per day. So you take the daily wage and you multiply by 27 days to get what you are getting now. So
it's about 270 something cedis or 80?
Okay, so if it kicks in next year, it's going to be 287.55 Ghana cedis. Right now, it's 261.36. But in this whole debate about wages and salaries, there's the inflation correlation.
Okay.
And you know inflation is currently at 10%. This increase is by 10%. If inflation is not stabilized or goes up, it's going to erode the gains we have made from such an increase. So going forward, yes, the increase is good for all of us. Everybody likes more money. I certainly do. I'm sure you do too. So with the whole debate about increase in salary, we should look at inflation also, because if inflation spirals out of control, then it's going to erode the gains we've made in any salary increase.
Less than 300 Ghana cedis, is this something that can carry the average Ghanaian?
Sandra, if you look around, you can describe the current economic situation as, or the current individual's living standards or cost of living as a bit high. So people are very frugal in the way they manage their money. And I know it's a bit low, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And going forward, if other fundamentals like inflation are stabilized, our salaries will not be eroded as much as we are experiencing now.
So you expect people to live on that amount of money and they should be fine?
I don't really, but I mean, it's a very difficult thing to talk about.
Will you be fine with that?
I will not be fine with that at all.
All right, Philip, we don't have enough time. Thanks so much. That was our discussion on the minimum wage being increased. And let's move to our interview of the day. And our interview of the day today, we engage human resource development expert Michael Thomas on how to improve working conditions to enhance productivity.
Why the increase? Are we just increasing for increase sake? Because if you increase money and you don't look at other factors that surround the employee's performance, you'd find out that yes, we've increased money, and the thought is that if we increase the money, people will be more engaged, but there are other things that matter. So money matters. Money is a huge incentive when it comes to performance and engagement, but we found out that a lot of times it's not always the number one thing. You can pay someone all they want, but if you treat them like trash, you talk down at them every time, if they have an option, they'll walk away from your organization. Young people, money is important to them, but you know what? We find out that a lot of them are also more interested in organizations that will help them grow, because they know that if they don't get the money today, but they grow significantly on their career journey, they'll be able to earn a whole lot more in the future than earning a lot now and reducing your earning potential for the future.
Okay, so you think the money, it's not all it takes back?
It's not all. It's something there and it's important, but it's not all.
Working environment is also important.
The working environment is important. Leadership of whoever I'm working with. There's that quote that we shared during the session today where we said, you know, people don't leave organizations, they leave their leaders, right? If I've got a crappy leader, if I've got a leader that doesn't believe in me, if I've got a leader that that is always tearing me down, abusing me, verbally abusive and whichever way, physically abusive. I've heard of leaders who slap employees, throw shoes at employees, just different things. That person doesn't make me feel respected. And so it doesn't matter how much he pays me. Pay me 1 million cedis a month. It's good. I'll take the money, but after a while, I'll tell you I'm worth more than that. And so you've got to be thinking as organizations to say, yes, we can increase that. But what else do we need to do? Because that's not the only lever to improve engagement.
Okay, so we packaged something to just delight you for the weekend. It's about giving everybody an equal chance. So let's go for this video.